Well, welcome to my workshops 2023. I am Basslightning on guitar, bass, vocals, and productions here at Arcanica Studios in Northern Vermont, USA. That's right, I am a real person. This is not a fake account. This is not a fake anything. I am the real deal. So, there you go. I'm going to try to just keep the stay on topic as much as I can. I tend to wander around a bit sometimes, but got the guitar hooked up here, just really low volume stuff here, no drums or anything like that, or vocals. So in the beginning the creative process, which I've done some other videos where I've touched on some of this, I suppose, but I just figured I'd do something a little different spin on it tonight. So I'll just take you right inside the workings of, I'm already working on the next set of songs for another virtual stage performance, but also MP3 stuff down the line or whatever. So I'll just draw some stuff from that I'm working on, and then I'll just kind of work it a little bit in front of you all, and then I'll explain to you what I do if it's of any interest to you, and what you're doing on your guitar. Great. If not, you can at least see what I do, you know what I mean? So I'm certainly not a guitar teacher or anything like that. Just an experienced musician who's been playing for a long time. That's all. So, all right. So on one of the newer songs, which I haven't selected what environment I'm going to release it in, whether it's just an MP3 on one of my websites or if I'm going to do it via virtual stage. I haven't really figured that out yet, but the song ideas and arrangements are there, so I need to work through them before I present them to all of you, because I don't just willy-nilly wing it. I don't believe in that. You need to actually work on things, and work things out. So I'll just do like one section. I don't need to go through an entire piece and show you every step, every single thing, but so that's quite loud enough. I don't want to go too loud. Just keep it kind of quiet and intimate here. That's pretty good. That's a little better, huh? A little fuller. Not changing the mix, I'm just changing the volume level. So what I'm doing, I do this a lot, and I've explained this in other video workshops and whatnot, and creative process creation cave stuff, is I use counterpoint a lot. And what counterpoint does is it gives a different spin on a chord pattern. That's really, for me, that's what it does. For other style players and different forms of music, it does something different, but for me, it gives me different sounds out of a basic chord pattern that adds more depth into the arrangement and gives a different sound for that arrangement. So I'm not just playing, this is just, again, this is would be like the verse or something, I don't have that all worked out yet, but so if that's the part on the turnaround I don't really have worked out. So going from the counterpoint where the bass, just for those who don't know or those who haven't hear me define it before, I use counterpoint a lot. Like, I don't want to say all the time, but you'll see it in a lot of my music performances because I enjoy taking chord patterns and twisting them all around. That's what I love doing that stuff because it gives a different feel, a different approach to the same chords. Now, if I just played this willy-nilly, now doesn't this sound better? Okay, well that was extra. So, you see what I'm getting at though? I showed you both versions to show you what I'm talking about. I could just play the straightforward chord patterns, but it doesn't really give it, the kind of depth that I like. It doesn't give it the sound that I like or the feel for my style of playing. I'm a hard rock style player, songwriter. Even when I'm playing bass, I'm doing that. I've always approached everything in a hard rock frame of mind in my style playing, even when I'm playing other styles of music, so it's who I am. It's my roots. It's where I come from, my melting pot, like any musician out there. And that's just how I tend to play, it's just, so when I write, it's really the same thing. It's essentially, I'm always thinking, okay, how can I make this really pop or groove or good melody, melodic type of thing, or, without overdoing it, overplaying, or, because I have the ability, to go with any direction I want. And you do too. As a player, you have the ability to take whatever direction you want in your playing, as far as if you just want to be a copy guy, if you want to actually write and create like I do. I can do both because I've done it forever. And, it just depends on what direction you want to take your playing style, whether it's guitar, bass, drums, keyboard, whatever it is you play, so basically, on my inner workings here in the lab, this is the absolute raw, basic form of what I take when I'm starting to create something new for my song list. That's why I'm showing this. It's for those who care. Some of you maybe could care less, and there's Chuck, he's just doing some more playing, and that's fine. I appreciate everyone who just takes the time to view my work. And the body of my work, my catalog, goes deep and far back. My MP3s go back further than 10 years, some of them. But my online, video material really only goes back right around, what was it? I don't remember the exact year. But I started August Theory in 2009 while I was already playing in another band. I was playing in the version 3 of Give and Groove at that time, blues and funk band, and when we brought in Jay Hannerfeld, it brought a different element to the band, made us sound more rock style and less blues and funk. Paul Dowse, our frontman, he was a blues guy. He wasn't a rock guy. He always enjoyed blues and funk. That's how he played everything, kind of like what I do with hard rock. I like everything. That's the way he played everything, but it was a nice element in that band. But that's when I started August Theory, which is 2009. I started recording I was renting a trailer from my in-laws up in Franklin, Vermont, they have at that time it was a dairy farm. Now it's a beef farm, beef and pork. It's a meat farm now, but it used to be a dairy farm. At that time, and so I had an extra room. It was before the kid came along, And we had an extra bedroom, so I turned it into a little studio, kind of like what I do here, you know. And that one I called Stream Dream, and I carried that over to here. I moved, circumstances happened. I was probably 10 years ish up in that area, and then I moved back to the St. Albans Bay Area, probably around, I don't remember the exact year, 2014, something like that. Or maybe, yeah, either 014 or 015, I don't remember. But anyway, it's not to bore you all with my, you know, life story here, but it brings up the point of when I started creating. I'd done songwriting long before this solo project started, way before. I used to do stuff with old songwriters that I worked with back, you know, years ago, and they would let me trickle in one or two of my own. I was writing songs back a long time ago. I never turned it into the guitar thing. Was really, you know, always just a side thing for me. You know, I think I tried out for like one band, and it really didn't work out because I was too heavy for them. And, you know, they were looking for like a dance band noodler, hippie Grateful Dead type of guy, and I'm more of like, you know, Ted Nugent, Ace Frehley, Angus Young, you know, hard rock edge kind of guy, and that's what I enjoy, the sound that I enjoy, and I love doing that. And I'm much more versatile on bass guitar, which is why that's where I have gotten most of my work over the years, because I'm a more experienced bassist than I am guitarist, you know. So but I still love to write on guitar. I still play guitar. I know I could do this out professionally easily anywhere pretty much on the planet as a guitarist or a bassist. You know, I would just have to constantly work one or the other. I wouldn't do both. I mean, that would be pretty much around the clock work for me, especially in cover bands where you have to learn other people's material all the time. You know, I just one or the other, you know. But yeah, so that brings me up to, you know, over the past decade, it's more than a decade, but whatever. What is it, 14 years, whatever it was. Changed it to Basslightning over this past year, just to give it a little fresh approach, just different. I have some different stuff that I wasn't playing before to bring in, and I don't usually change names very often. Like I said, I kept August Surrey for a long time, you know. So that brings me to why I still write songs. Why I still write songs is because it's part of me. It's part of who I am. It's you know, I present it via virtual stage. I don't do a lot of open mics anymore. Once in a while, you know, I'll go out, grab a bass, and go out and do one or something just for fun. But for the most part, I'm just a studio hermit now. Eventually, someday, I'll run another band. I'll probably, you know, run the band myself, host, and then everybody can come to me instead of the other way around. They can put the miles on their cars and spend the gas money, you know. In bringing us back on topic, I'm wandering again. You caught me wandering. I think that really it's all about, for me, and I'm talking for my performance material, not my song skeletons or my creative cave stuff or any of that kind. You know, that's just, I don't want to say it's just noodling around. I don't take it seriously, but it's not as structured as my set list stuff that I use for my, you know, my virtual stage for my performance stuff, you know, final product that, you know, gets copyrighted and all that. That's what I'm talking about. For that stuff, what you're seeing here is the beginning phase of anything that I do, guitar or bass, whatever. This is what I do. With the bass, it's the exact same thing. I do the exact same process. It's just a little different of an approach because it's bass, but it's still the same mental framework as far as how I'm creating, you know, the method. So, all right, I'm going to go into this song, the idea that I've been working on, and I'm going to expand on it a little. I'm even going to try a couple things that may stay in the song or may not. Sometimes I go, like you'll see in a solo for, what was it, my last set I just did the other day, for Cryptic Asylum. On that set, the first song on that, is it, yeah, the first song in that set, instrumental song piece, when I go into that solo, now I change, I'm just doing this as an example of why sometimes I do this, and I'll get into what I'm doing here. But I change from major to minor key sometimes. Sometimes, even though I was in E minor during that solo, sorry, that's okay, I'm in the wrong mode. E minor, so now you can hear, I'm part of that solo, I'm actually, instead of being in the minor key, I'm actually, so see how I went from minor to major. I didn't play it like that. I was using single note slides on, basically on the same string, closed position till I went down, and then I used an open position to close it out. Now at first I said, that doesn't really make sense for me to do that, but then sometimes I do that kind of thing because I'm trying to be a little different and not just play everything square right by the book. That's a huge part of who I am as an artist, whether it's on bass or guitar. It's the same way. I try not to just be run of the mill, and that's why sometimes I'll break the rules. Got to know the rules before you can break them, but I've known the rules for a long time. But why I'm using that as an example, if you go back and listen to that solo, at first it's like, well, why did he switch to a major key? Is he going out of key? No, I'm not going out of key. I know exactly what I'm doing there. It was so instead of so I'll do that and it doesn't really make musical sense. Why you're in E minor, why are you switching to a major key and doing your scale there? Because that was the thought and feeling I had about making something that's different. It's at first sounds like an accidental. It's not. At first it sounds, I thought maybe it's too dissonant or something like that. Not really, because I'm trying to go for that kind of dark theme. I mean, it was Cryptic Asylum. I mean, come on. I can't call something that and then play everything in major key, diatonic, major triads only. I mean, you have to get into the flats and make it darker and make it different and twist things around. And sometimes that means you have to do things differently to get that effect. That's really the heart of it right there. So sometimes you'll see me do that. It's not because I'm trying to, oh, he doesn't know he's playing out of key. No, that's not it. I know that I'm playing in a different mode than what was written. And sometimes I do that on purpose. Not all the time, but it is scripted that way for a reason. And there's a method to the madness in everything I do. And that is definitely an oddball thing to do. Like, it's not standard, I should be playing minor triads in a minor key, not major. That's basically it. Is I'll play around in the modes so that sometimes it seems like drifting or it doesn't make sense, but to me it does, because I am the creator, and that's what I wanted to do. You know, may not make sense to everyone, and that's fine. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to make sense to me, and then present it to all of you. You know what I mean? So let's get into this. I don't have a title for it, but this is just a raw, basic chord pattern and some other notes going with it. You know, maybe I'm gonna just build on it a little bit and show you. So, what were we doing? We were in A. See, now right there, I'm not really sure what to do, what type of solo to put in that when the solo section kicks in. So I don't really have this whole piece worked out, like I said. So I'm going to try something in front of all of you, live and direct, and we'll see. Kind of clunked an open string there by accident. That's not cool. So if I'm going to solo an A and the rest of the song is an A, I usually don't do that either. Most of the time I change the key in the guitar solo, change the key of the bridge, change the key of the chorus, just because it moves things around, gives different color, and brings you back. You know, it's like then you've heard it before, so you're familiar. Hey, there's the A part again, the A section, where another verse will come in, or a variation of a verse, or something like that. So, but in this case, I'm just going to stick with A, even though I know it's going to be in a different key when I finalize everything. But just for sake of time, I'll just do it in A. So I can do, a lot of times I'll combine chromatic with the hybrid scales. Or pentatonic. See, and I'll do that too. I'll go again, going from the conversion from, you know, A major to A minor, and putting it in the same line, which creates a trill effect. So, just make sure that you bring it back around, or it's going to sound like you're lost. You know, that's the big thing. Make sure you're identifying with what you're supposed to be doing. and don't just wander around and noodle. Then you just sound like you're a jam band or something, which that's okay if that's the effect you're trying to get. But in this case, I'm not really. Sometimes I'll put a new section into a song. I'll do an outro jam kind of thing, like you've seen in some of my videos. I'll drop it down to a halftime beat and then just kind of jam on that idea. And sometimes to create an outro for a song that brings a different effect into that piece. And that's the best way I know how to explain it. So, all right. So what I would cement in there is the bass would be. Again, it's not going to be an A because the rest of the song is an A, you know. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to stay in A for tonight. So I'm going to just do it. See, I can take any avenue I want there, depending on where I stop and do my bend on the way back down the scale. So instead of pentatonic, I can go. See, and that's contained in the major scale. So, or just keep it pentatonic. You know, it just depends on what you're trying to do for effect on the solo and what you're trying to convey to the audience. As far as, and the biggest thing is make sure something tasteful that sounds good and matches the song. That's a big, huge deal. It doesn't matter if what you're doing is simplistic as long as it fits the song. That is the 100% most important thing. I will preach that over and over again. Even with bass, same thing. You know? So, if I'm going... So for right now, my mock solo in A. Remember, this is still going. That's another thing, is the entry point. That's a huge deal too. So when I enter into a solo, notice I don't just come in, you know, guns blazing all the time. I mean, you can, but it gets to be a bit too busy and a bit too much all at once. To me, a solo has a life, just like Andy Alador explains in his instructional videos. Andy Alador is a great teacher. I've learned a lot from over the years. So Andy, if you're watching this, you rock, buddy. I've said this before, but yeah, he's an awesome player, man, and very experienced Guitar World magazine editor. I think he still is. But yeah, he's out there playing quite often. You can check out his page, Andy Alador. He plays with various artists, and he's always out there, you know. But great player, and great for classic rock, hard rock, and or blues, and any of that stuff, man. The guy can play everything, you know. Very much influencing on me as far as my solo work goes and stuff. Not so much his music style selections or whatever, like, you know, my taste isn't his taste and vice versa, but his soloing techniques. The guy, you know, he's amazing, you know. And you can learn a lot from him. And the biggest thing is it kind of fits the type of soloing I like to do in my own hard rock music. That's the most important thing. You know, I could pick out Eddie Van Halen stuff all night long and work on it and work on it and work on it. Hey, I can play Eruption, great. It does nothing for my original music at all to learn types of guitar playing that doesn't, you know, feed my fire, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I study guys that do. So that's it right there. Why waste your time on stuff to impress people, or, you know? Not me. I just do my thing. And I study people who benefit me the most, you know. All right, so anyways, enough of that, you know, philosophy. Philosophy, no, So that's what I would do. I would just, so entry point, back to what I was saying, entry point. So so I'm going to just come right in, but I'm going to come in slowly. So I would just come in. This is still, remember, that's still playing. See what I'm saying? Now, the entry point, did you see what I did there? I hope. The entry point is critical to, it's like, you know, you're lighting a match and you're starting the fire. The solo is the fire. You want it to burn slowly and then erupt. You know what I mean? No pun intended for eruption. And that's basically what you're doing is you're planting the seed and then you're letting it grow slowly throughout the life of the solo. Whether it's a short solo, long solo. If it's a short solo, it's a short life, then put everything that you're doing in those measures into a condensed form. If it's a longer solo, then you have more space, so you need to adjust what you're playing accordingly without overthinking it. Again, don't overthink it. Work on your techniques, your scales, your chords, your knowledge, and all that stuff separately. You don't want to be doing that when you're writing songs, really. You know, it just take you forever to write one song, you know. Well, theoretically, this is what I'm playing, so I'm going to, you know, I'm going to do a, you know, a C7 in there, a C9, 11, a 13, you know. Don't do all that. That's what you do separately when you're studying. Off to the side, you shouldn't write and study and put that in together. It doesn't make sense, you know. Do one or the other. You'll benefit from it the most. At least that's what I always have done. When I'm studying my bass, I'm reading my bass clef and just, you know, going through stuff, maybe studying from Jeff Berlin or any respected, you know, bassist out there who's a teacher. And then maybe I'll do some of that. I'll look at some stuff. I'm not always looking to somebody else for information and knowledge on my neck, my guitar neck or bass neck. I draw from those influences, but then I just run it through my own, what you would call it, you know, my mental framework of how I like to play. So, interpretation. So, all right, so there you have it. That's how I create solos pretty much all the time. That's what I'm always thinking in terms of entry point, in terms of length, not amount of measures in that solo. Is it broken up into two sections in the song? Am I soloing over the chorus at the end? Not usually, because I'm usually singing my own music and, you know, I'm just kind of sticking to the chord patterns there. Usually, if I was just a lead guitar player who didn't sing, then I would probably do more of that. Obviously, you know, but not when I'm performing the whole thing myself. You know, that's another thing is if you're a solo artist and you're playing by yourself, you're playing everything, you're doing it all yourself. So you need to give yourself space for different things that you wouldn't normally have to do. Like, you know, if I'm in the chorus, like what I just said, if I'm in the chorus line, I'm just focusing on the chords and getting the vocals straight and making it so it all makes sense and stays together and tight. And I might do a few riffs here and there or something. If I was just a lead guitar player playing along with a band, I could put some different melodies and patterns in there. If it was allowed by, you know, whoever was directing the band, the music, and to put things in there that I probably wouldn't do if I was singing, you know. I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's reality. Same with bass, you know. If it's a really busy bass line, it is difficult to sing to, you know. That's so I like with Rush. I mean, I can play it. Can't really play it and sing it. Maybe a few songs, but it's too busy. It's just too much. You're all over the place, you know. Which is great, but it's, you know, walk and chew gum type of thing, you know. So, all right, so I'm going to go through that's section A with the guitar solo. Now I'm going to go through section B, which would be the bridge into back into the A section, but the bridge is going to get created in a amount of time measures. Just standard 4/4 timing, you know. So, all right, so here we go. So we're going from the solo back to the A section. So after the solo, that's another thing. It's a turning point. Do you put a verse in there? You know what I mean? After the guitar solo, that's totally up to you and your own creative realm and what you want to do with that. For me, you know, it just depends on the song. I've done both things, you know. You want to put a powerful chorus after the guitar solo to keep the crescendo going, or you want to drop it down, do another verse, and then come into it. That's totally up to you. Totally, you know, and the style that you're writing, and if you're co-writing with somebody else, there's factors there, you know what I mean? So, all right, let's do the bridge. So, this is the very end of the guitar solo, so it would be... Which, you know, that's, you've already heard that in the song, right, earlier. So I'll put a bridge in the song like 3 times. And sometimes I'll take the bridge and extend it out and turn it into a whole different section of the song. There's another thing you can do. Again, it depends on your writing style, depends on what you want to do. Do you want to stick to, you know, a traditional framework? Then that's probably not the best thing to do. You want to go verse, bridge, verse, chorus, solo, verse or chorus, that type of thing. And only put a bridge in it like once, maybe twice. I'll put 3 bridges in a song, and then I'll extend the 3rd bridge out so that it's part of the song. I've done that. I don't want to say every song, but quite a few of my songs, if you go back and look at the structure, this is exactly what happens. I take the bridge, so I'm going to use that. So there's 2 times this bridge has appeared. So I would put that in there. I was playing that earlier. It's again, this is the very raw, basic creative process here. So I don't have the whole phrasing worked out yet. Now, I played that earlier. I don't know where I'm going to put it in the song. I have no idea. You know, I think what I'll do is put that bridge and short version, amount of measures is what I'm talking about. In between the first, in between the second verse and the second chorus. That's what I would probably do. Short version bridge, then chorus, then guitar solo, then come out and do a longer version bridge after the guitar solo. That's the way I would arrange that. And then after that would be chorus again, and then outro. Whether it would just be, you know, a fade out kind of deal with the chorus, or if it would be a whole different section altogether. I haven't quite gotten to that point yet, but, you know. So there's that. So there's and then, so that would be, there you go. There's the bridge. So I'll do a short version of it, and then a longer version after the guitar solo. Guitar solo itself, I still haven't really completed, but I showed you the entry point and the beginning process. So let's work on the guitar solo a little bit. So, something like that is what I would finish it out with. So as you can see, what I used in there is the same thing. The entry point, start out with the pentatonic, with the bend. Then I went into the chromatic combined with the pentatonic, and then brought a little bit of the hybrid in there with the... I could put something like that in there too, but yeah. Actually, what I did was... So what I did there was actually, I didn't bring the hybrid in. I stuck to chromatic with the pentatonic, stayed in the pentatonic mode, and then brought the solo around the outro. So it's hard to like play this and then explain everything. It's why workshops aren't really my favorite thing to do, because I like to just play and I have to explain everything, you know. But since this is a workshop, I'm trying to explain things in the best music theoretical terms that I can, to be articulate enough so that, you know, I'm talking shop with the musicians, but I'm not so far over non-musicians' heads that they can kind of see what I'm doing. That's why I'm showing the playing too, so they can say, oh, that's how we did that, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the effect I'm going for here. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but that's what I do. So all right, so like I said, the phrasing isn't really worked out yet, so I don't know if I'm going to end that solo with the hybrid into pentatonic, or just stay in the hybrid. Break out of the hybrid though. So yeah, that wouldn't work. See? I could walk up to the next position with it, but then I'm transposing into, you know, I don't want to do that. So this one here, I'm keeping closed position and I'm staying in. So if I was going to use the hybrid on the end of that solo section, that's what I would do. And then staying with the minor triad. I'm keeping an A minor framework. I'm not changing the mode like I explained on that other song. I only do that once in a while because it's weird and sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't fit right, you know. But I do it sometimes. So then, you know, practice your techniques too. So I'm at the top of the hybrid position there, on the A hybrid. So from that top position, so you don't want to go up. Then you're in B. You don't want to do that. So stay in position until you decide to change the key or move it around more outside of that, arrangement from the tonic of that section. Make sure you keep that in mind too. So for me, it would just be. See, now I did break out of the hybrid there, but I'm still in that A minor framework, so that when I do the bends and walk up and come back into the hybrid A scale, it's not such a weird, wait, that didn't fit. It's perfectly transparent with what's going on, and absolutely in key with the A minor framework. See how that works? Now, I don't want to make it so weirdly, esoteric that I can't just summon it up. That's another thing. Don't make things that are so, I don't want to say complex, that's not the right word, but, too much going on with it where you're not going to be able to just summon it up at any given time. You need to be able to play what you're creating and repeat it if necessary. If you're playing the song again, you want to do something, it's not like you're just playing this stuff once and then, oh, that's it, and then forget about it. You need to be able to learn these parts that you've created and be able to repeat them and within context of a decent, version, and then continue on, So that's really my mindset with the creative process in this workshop, and hopefully it's brought you some kind of insight. I don't know if it's taught you anything technically, but that's the process that I use. I use a certain method that I use, and as far as what theory I draw from, there's a whole world of that out there, as you all know. It just keeps going and going and going. So it's just finding things that you can actually learn, absorb, that you're creating, make music theory sense, yes, but creative sense, yes, taste, yes, and does it fit the song? Don't overplay, and be careful of your measure arrangements on the stave, because you don't want to blow over into a verse unless that's the way you want it to be. If you want to be soloing over a verse, great, but just make sure you've written it that way so you're not cutting off when the vocals come in. So it's all in terms of phrasing. That's a huge deal, is in and out of sections with ease and not choppiness or anything like that, or lateness or earliness or anything. It's got to be boom, 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 boom. But with feel, make it smooth, make your presentation good, develop a good feel on your instrument, number one, before you even try any of this. Because it's, you have to be able to do that first. What's that cliche saying? Learn how to walk before you learn how to run, So that's really, it does hold true, So, and I'm going to do a real quick riff creator section here. So I don't want to get too in depth with the explanation like I did on this new piece that I have showed you all in my creative process. But when I'm creating stuff, I'm drawing from theory, yes, but I'm also drawing from my own creative instincts to make it work within the context of my music. So if I'm working on something that's, triplets, sixteenths, 30-second notes are fast. That's really fast. But most of my stuff is like triplets, orientated, sixteenths, triplets, eighth notes, obviously quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, of course, all of it. But faster stuff I do. So, on the stave, those would be that's triplets. It would be written as triplets. And remember your timing signature, and so that when you're arranging, the notes make sense within the context of each measure. So if it's 4 beats per measure, make sure it's 4 beats, not 5. If it's 5 beats, then you're in 5/4 timing. We're no longer in 4/4 or 2/4 cut time or anything like that. So, all right. So riff creator, let's go. So there's the riff creator. Now, I'm not going to go in and analyze everything I just played there. I would have to be here for another hour. So when you're doing riff creator, you want to stick to, or at least when I do, you want to stick to what you know. Okay, you don't want to take too big of a chance, especially not if you're in a virtual stage or actual live performance out live. Stick to what you know, what you've practiced. Number one, you can have a little fun, play around a little bit. But you don't want to necessarily take a big chance. If you're out, in front of people. I don't even want to do that here because I know I'm still in front of people. Some people are watching this, so you keep yourself in check with the mental framework that you're supposed to be in to perform the parts. That's really the basis of it. What I draw from, if you notice what I just played there on the riff creator, is really it's the same kind of stuff I've been telling you. I'm combining, pentatonic with chromatic. There, some intervals in there. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing, but don't overthink it. Again, with riff creator, keyword being creator, you want to think about theoretically what makes sense, but at the same time, you don't want to overthink it. So if I'm doing in riff creator mode, I know that I'm doing, if you're in relative minor or something where you're going to be going into a different key, not necessarily a transposition, but a juxtaposition. So that's it. Always keep in mind the context of what you're creating. Without overthinking it, make sure that you're using riffs that you've structurally created and worked on your own. Again, that's a separate thing. You know, riff creator is, yes, you're working on riffs, but riff creator is something I'm going to take and insert into a song. So you want to already have, you know, like your scale techniques, your you know, configurations, you know, inversions, and whatever it is you're doing, you know, have that worked on separately on your own study time type of deal. And when you put it in a riff creator, you want to already have it down. You're just trying to find, kind of directing the machine, you know, to what you want to do as far as a part creation for a particular solo piece in a song. So if that all makes sense to you, that's my thought process up here. So thanks for joining me for another Basslightning guitar workshop. These are methods I use. They've worked for me for many years. I've played on professional albums. I've been offered a record deal from Atlantic Records subsidiary with another songwriter I worked with when I was on bass, and you know, I share songwriter awards at Billboard magazine. What, two songs with another songwriter. I've done all kinds of stuff where I've mixed in some songwriting stuff in the midst of a cover song band, you know, over the years, and it works, but you got to be careful because you got to keep in mind your local marketing, you know, keep your recognizable, popular hit material there to keep the business people happy, the patrons happy, and all that. There's always that thing. Depends on what circuit you're on, and there's some variables there that you need to know. You find out real quick what those variables are. So thank you for joining me. I am Basslightning, original hard rock artist from Northern Vermont, USA, and I will catch you all on the next one. And I should have some new material up and running here at some point. So thanks for joining me.